Hey there, and welcome to my channel. I'm Crafty Kathy, and I'm so happy and thankful that you stopped in to do a little Halloween crafting and chatting with me today. I have some very simple Halloween DIYs from Dollar Tree, and we're going to jump right into the first one. I have one of the glass cutting boards, and I love to change these up every season. But I've been noticing lately that I've been using the one from Christmas, so let's get a new one in my kitchen. I have large cutting boards when I need them, but most of the time I just need like a very small cutting board like this, like for one piece of chicken or whatever. So that's what I use these for. Okay, you're going to open it up and you're going to pop the little tabs off of the bottom, the little feet. They come off really easy. You just grab something and pop them right off, and then I lay them down upside down because we're going to put those back on when we're finished. I made this gorgeous digital print. It's my very first one that's going to go in my Shopify store, and I'll leave the info down below. Now, I put mine on rice paper, and you can see I don't do this often. You literally just put your rice paper on the front of a regular piece of printer paper and you tape it down. But you can kind of see here where mine got stuck a little bit in my printer because I don't do it often. I need to practice more. Now, if you just so happen to want to get one of these prints, you don't have to print it off on rice paper. You can actually just print it on regular printer paper or some of that tissue paper from the Dollar Tree, the white. But one thing that I do like to do before I decoupage anything that I do on my printer is to spray it with that Rust-Oleum clear because it's going to seal the colors in so they won't run. So this is the simplest DIY to do. I wanted these to be super simple. Here is the front. It has a smooth side, and then this side is like, textured. We're going to put her on the side that is smooth, and we're literally going to lay it down just like this. This is what it's going to look like when we're done. We're going to decoupage her underneath the cutting board, and the picture will be facing upward. I'm going to use the type of Mod Podge that's made for the dishwasher because I do throw mine in the top rack whenever I need to wash it off. You just follow the directions that's on the back, and you don't want to put like a whole lot, but you don't want to put too little. You just want to put a good enough amount to where it's going to hold on to your picture. And then the directions state that you dry it, let it get totally dry, and then put another coat on, and then let that dry, and then another coat. After I do all that, I add some white paint on the back, but I also make sure that I seal it. You'll see in just a moment. Now, as I was saying, I do have one of these I made at Christmas, and it still looks just like the day that I made it. So you just place this on the bottom. You're going to flip it over and then just smooth it out with your fingers and let it dry. Now, while it's drying, I'm going to go ahead and take the excess off. I think technically you're supposed to wait until your Mod Podge is dry before you do this step, but these finger sanders are so good at what they do, I don't have any trouble. As long as you do it away from your body and away from the paper, it's not going to pull it back up. So I just go around with my finger sander, get all the little edges off, and by this time, since I didn't put such a thick coat, it's already 100% dry. So the next thing that I'm going to do is go ahead and put that second coat on here. And this is why I tell you, in my opinion, it's always best to go ahead and spray that sealer on there before you ever let the Mod Podge hit it. Because that Rust-Oleum spray sealer, the matte clear, it just keeps those colors from running. And you don't have to use the Rust-Oleum brand. If you have a different sealer, you can use that. But I feel that the spray is the best because it's not going to let it run. So we are pretty much finished at this point. I'm going to let it dry And we are going to take some white chalk paint, and I'm going to use the color Beadboard. It's by DIY Paint. And if y'all want any of the DIY products, my friend Lori over at Milton's Daughter sells the DIY paint, the IOD, Pentart products. A lot of the supplies that you see me use on my channel, I get it from Lori. So now that this is dry on the bottom, we're just going to put this coat of white. And the reason why we're doing that is because anytime when you decoupage something, it needs to have a white background. In my opinion, the white background looks the best, and it just kind of makes your image pop. It's not going to take a lot of paint here. I'm just going to go and give it one quick little coat. After I get that last layer of paint good and dry, I'm just going to take those 4 little feet and stick them back on. You can put a little dab of hot glue on them to make sure that they stay, but I find that it's not even necessary because the sticker adhesive on the back is so good. So I just pop it on and this baby is done. Now that's a super easy way to bring a little pop of Halloween into your kitchen. I hope you like this one. For DIY number 2, there's several things that you can use. I'm just going to use this old cookie tin. You can use something like this. You can even use a cardboard box, or you could use like one of those crates that come in the $3 section of the Dollar Tree. There's several different things you can use. I'm going to spray paint this black, and I'm going to use my Rust-Oleum 2 times in the matte black. When the spray paint dries, I'm going to use some of this material that I got last year at Dollar Tree. I think these candy corns are so cute. They had about maybe 6 different ones, and I think I got 2 of each one of them. So I have a lot left over from last year. I'm just going to measure it out because we're going to put this in the bottom portion of our little tin. I measured it out and I laid it down to make sure that it's going to fit. And if it doesn't go all the way to the very ends and there's a little bit of gap, that's okay because we're going to cover that up anyway. I'm going to place this down by using Mod Podge. And this time I'm not using the dishwasher. I'm just using the regular old matte, and I'm going to put a little bit of a thicker coat because we definitely want it to hold that material in so it won't come off. Last year, I got these 3 skeletons at the Dollar Tree. They also have these at Dollar General for just $1 a piece. I'm going to take some black paint and just kind of dry brush it over my skeletons. It's those little details that make such a huge difference. Look at the difference from this guy to the other. All I'm doing is just kind of dirtying him up a little bit. And in case you're not sure what dry brushing is, it's where you just have a little bitty bit of paint on your brush and you offload most of it onto a piece of paper or something. And so your brush is essentially kind of dry and you're just kind of like brisking over your project with what little bit of paint is left on that brush, and it just makes such a difference in the way these guys look. I got some of this wired tinsel, and this is left over from last year too. My Dollar Tree does not have out their Halloween stuff yet, but I cannot wait because I've been watching some of the other creators, and the stuff that they're finding this year is amazing. I'm just going to need a little bit of this, so I'm going to cut it off with my cutters. What I'm going to do is run this all the way around the back end of my little box. And what I like to do whenever I'm using these, now they have a wire in them, so they pretty much can be maneuvered any way that you want them to go. But I do put just a little bit of hot glue on each of the corners to hold it down really well. I'll put just like a little dab of glue, and then I lay my wire into that glue and hold it there for just a few seconds and put another little dab on top of the wire, and it's almost like it seals it in. And it's so light, it's going to stick and it's not going to go anywhere. When I got it all placed on there, there's a few little spots that's missing a go, so I would just pull one off of the rest of it that I have and literally just glue it right onto the wire so it would look right. Now we're going to use some of these beautiful little fairy lights. I got these last Halloween and I am so glad I did. I'll leave the link down below. I got them from Amazon and they came in different colors, but the purple was absolutely the best. It was the brightest and the prettiest of all the colors, and they were really cheap and affordable. So what we're going to do is the exact same thing that we did with the wire. You know, the fairy lights come in, like there's 20 lights on there, and they also have the wire. Do not worry about using a little bit of hot glue on the wire. It will not burn through it because I've done this since the dawn of time. And I just go around, I put a little bit of glue, and it's going to hold my fairy lights exactly where I want them to go. I was able to wrap this around my little box probably 2 times, and then I'm going to place the controller that comes with it in an area where it's going to be easy for me to flip it off and on in the evenings whenever I want my lights to have a little glow. I grabbed a second set of fairy lights that I'm not even going to glue down. I'm just going to place these down on the bottom. And I failed to mention that if you do get these off of Amazon, you can get a much better deal than what you can at Dollar Tree. They're way cheaper and the quality's better. I'm going to grab one of these little pumpkins, and this of course is from Dollar Tree. I'm going to set it down right in the center. And I also have one of those little lanterns that I picked up at Dollar Tree, and I stuck it kind of in the back just for a little extra light. I've grabbed these little, I guess you would call them garland. They came off of a black garland that I had last year. And I just cut off 2 little pieces and I laid those down toward the back just so that it would have like, I don't know, like a little extra flare back there. And my pumpkin there is in the center. I did grab a second pumpkin, the one that is like swirly looking and it's orange with the black swirls here. I placed it down on the right hand side, but I actually had to move that. You know, as the project progresses, sometimes you got to move things around. I'm going to place my favorite little skeleton right on top of the pumpkin, and then I'm going to place the other 2 on the side of him. And that's the reason why I had to move my swirly little pumpkin, because there wasn't enough room for my skeleton to go. And of course, those are the main parts that you want to see of this whole setup. So I had to, sacrifice the pumpkin. I didn't have my camera rolling when I placed that little orange ornament up in the upper right hand corner there. I just put a little bit of glue and stuck him up there. And then I grabbed this rickrack. I got this last year at Halloween at Walmart. It was only 49 cents, and this was one of the best things that I had in my crafting arsenal at Halloween, simply because I had so many things that needed to be trimmed out, and this little 49-cent rickrack came to the rescue. I'm just putting a little bit of glue on here, not much, and I'm going to place that rickrack right in the center, and it just trimmed this piece out so beautifully. And when I get to the area like here where I'm coming to a corner, what I would do is kind of curve the rickrack instead of cutting it off. I wanted it to have like a continuous flow. I just kind of curved it and went around with it so it would be one continuous piece. Now I'm going to take some of the smaller ornaments, and of course these are from Dollar Tree too. I'm just going to pop the tops off of these, and I am so sorry that this is just out of frame enough to where you can't see what I'm doing, but it's very, very simple. All I did was put a little bit of glue on it, and I'm going to stick these ornaments onto that larger sized orange ball that's up there. I'm actually making these look like balloons, so they're just going to be kind of hanging off the side. I grabbed some fishing twine, and I am going to just cut off about 7 inches of it, and I put the tiniest little drop of glue on the end, and I'm just going to stick it up there at the bottom of each of my little makeshift balloons, and that's going to be the string that's holding the balloons. And you see I just put one little dot of glue, take it up there, and pop it on. I'm going to gather all the string together into one piece and stick it in my little skeleton's hand with one little bead of glue. I took one of those little ghosts from off the tinsel, put a little bead of glue on the back of him, and stuck him on the front of the balloons. And once again, I am so sorry that that part was out of frame. I was so mad at myself when I realized what I had done. But it was kind of hard to film this part so that I could see what I was doing and give it a way that you guys could see what I was doing too. I took this little spider, and I think I got these spiders at Walmart last year. It may have been from Dollar Tree. They definitely have them. I'm putting a little bit of glue on his bottom, and I put him on the left-hand side here like he's just shimmying down the wall. Then the last thing that I'm doing is just trying to cover up my little controllers to turn my lights on, and I'm going to stick 2 little pumpkins on top of each other. I hope you like this one. This next one is another one that is super quick and easy. I'm going to take this picture frame that says Dad. I'm going to open it up and take everything out of it, the back of it. I grabbed my DIY paint in the color called Little Black Dress, and I just gave this one quick coat. And I totally forgot. Usually when I'm doing my first DIY, I like to welcome everybody, especially if this is the first time you've ever been to my channel. I especially want to welcome you, and I would love for you to leave me a comment and let me know which of these was your favorite and introduce yourself. I love to chat with you guys in the comments. And I would love for you to hit the like button if you're getting some value out of this, or if you're learning something new, or just getting some ideas. Also, don't forget to subscribe because we would love to have you as part of our family, and we've always got room for more. We just love to chat and craft and have a good old time around here. Last fall, I went to a yard sale and I hit the mother lode. I got a hold of these 24 postcards, and I paid like 25 cents for these. And I love these. These are like old and vintage, and I'm looking for one that's like vertical. I don't really want to use a horizontal, although I could. So I just played around with these, and I finally settled on the cat. I love the cat. I love the saying, so that's what we're going to use. Now I'm just going to flip the kitty cat over, and I'm going to use double-sided tape because that's pretty much all I had. I couldn't find my regular old tape. So I just put a few pieces all across that. That way when I put the back on, it's going to stick really well. I cut off a little piece of this cardstock that's going to fit right over the other portion, and I'm just going to tape it right on there also. I previously made up some of the molds of one of the IOD molds that came out in the springtime, and it's the one that has the different insects here. I thought that these would be perfect to go on this little display. So I'm just going to give them a quick coat of the little black dress to paint them black. And then I started off by grabbing my Pentart paste. It's my antique paste in the color gold, but it wasn't the right shade of gold. So I'm going to grab my Rub and Buff in the color antique gold. Last Halloween, I used this color antique gold a lot in my Halloween decor. It's not a bright gold, it's very muted, it's very antique-y, and it just has that spooky vibe, I guess you could say, that just matches so well with Halloween. I'm going to use just a little bit on my fingertips. I went around my frame anywhere where I wanted to add a touch of gold, and I also added it on my little insect's back. I have a couple of knickknacks that I'm going to add on the right hand side there, almost like this is a shadow box. I'm going to take one of those bats that comes on one of the bat rings and cut the back off, and I used that gold Rub and Buff to highlight the bat. I took a small apothecary bottle and I glued it in the bottom slot. In the top, I'm going to add a bat and a very tiny pumpkin that I believe came from the Dollar Tree. And then in the center, I have a spider web that I think once was a necklace, and I'm going to place it in there. And I just glued my insects on the side. I felt like I kind of went heavy with the gold, so I'm going to use just a little bitty bit of black that I had in my brush and just kind of dry brush that area and knock some of that gold down because I felt like I didn't need as much as I had there. And that's all there was to this one. It was super simple and easy, and I think it turned out cute. I hope you like it. I hope that you enjoyed today's video, and I'd like to ask you guys, if you did, to please hit the like button. If you hit the like button and leave me a comment, even if it's just a heart emoji, that helps out my channel tremendously on YouTube. And of course, I would love for you to stick around and subscribe and become a part of our family. We always have room for more, and we always just chat and craft and have a good old time. Now, my videos come out every Monday and Thursday at 7:30 Eastern Standard Time. And I hope to see you guys on the next one, Lord willing, and the creek don't rise. Did you know that if you're on a phone or a tablet, you can just click onto my face right here and it'll subscribe you to my channel? You sure can. You can also click on these videos, and as soon as this one is finished, it'll take you right to the next one. I'll see you guys soon. God bless you and your families.